Sheryl Sandberg, you probably know who I'm talking about, the technology business executive and author of Lean In. Here's something that she wrote about herself. Every time I took a test, I was sure it had gone badly. And every time I didn't embarrass myself or even excelled, I believed I had fooled everyone again. One day soon, the jig would be up. There are still days when I wake up feeling like a fraud, not sure I should be where I am. Wow. So if she can feel like a fraud or have imposter phenomenon, it's no surprise that many women can feel this way. In 2020, KPMG did a research study with executive women, and what they found is that 75% of executive women experience imposter phenomenon on a regular basis. We're not talking about somebody that just started their job, 20 years old, or we're not talking about somebody who's been out of the workplace for a while coming back in. We're talking about serious, experienced, brilliant, savvy executive women who feel imposter phenomenon. So how does it show up, that imposter phenomenon, in people's lives? Well, the main ways it shows up are in a need to be perfect, to please people, to make sure that everything is perfect before we walk out the door, or we deliver a talk, or we go into a meeting. So what we might do is spend the entire night up practicing, reading, preparing, knowing full well that there are guys in that room that didn't do any of that work. Number two, women with imposter syndrome or phenomenon tend to have trouble asking for help. And it may be because they prefer to be alone, but more likely it's that they don't want to be found out because they believe that they're not as good as they really are. And third is pushing themselves over the limits, beyond what they can really handle. And I don't know about you, but I know plenty of women who are stressed out, exhausted, overwhelmed from their work, and working 2 to 3 times harder than the guys that they work with. So if you experience any of this, don't feel like you're alone. So what do people do about this in order to get beyond imposter phenomenon? Well, a few things. One is to identify our inner strengths, our learned skills, and keep a record of it, a journal like. So I had a coaching client that earlier on, when I was learning to go out and speak, said, write down 5 reasons that you know that you have experienced or learned that will allow you to be successful in this. And then the next day, read through those and add another one, and then keep that up. Just keep adding and reading over and over to build your confidence. Number 2, notice, pay attention to the words that you're saying to yourself. Are you saying, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I should ask the question. And then work on ways of thinking that shifts that around. Number 3, use positive affirmations like, I am capable and worthy of my success, because you are. And say it over and over again, every day, every morning, every noon, every night, how many times you need it. Now, all of these work. Unfortunately, they only work temporarily. So you have to keep doing them over and over, at least. And there's really nothing that we can do that we're aware of that can change that until now. And that's what I really want to talk to you about today. For the last 6 years, I have been learning and using with my clients a methodology called regenerating images in memory. It was developed, originated by a woman named Dr. Deborah Sandella. Now, I won't go into the deep details of it right now, but I will tell you that it is a neuroscience method that helps us to release the negative thoughts and emotions that hold us back, that help or that promote imposter phenomenon. Let me give you an example. So I have a client, and I'll call her Marty. Marty, great salesperson. In fact, one of the top salespeople for her tech organization. So she was offered a promotion to lead one of the teams. And she's great at it. And her team loves her, and they're doing really well. The only issue that she has is that when she gets an idea, she questions it. She questions herself. She questions whether her thinking is good. So she keeps going over it and over it and over it, trying to perfect it. And then she'll talk to her team about it to get their opinion. Invariably, one of the people on her team, usually a guy, will go to her boss with her idea, and he will get credit for it instead of her. So we did several regenerating images and memory sessions, RIM sessions. And after the third one, I contacted her to see how she was doing. And she said the very next morning, she got up and called her boss and told him about a new idea she had. It happened to be recording, so she didn't know whether it would go through or not. But he called her back in the afternoon to tell her what a great idea it was and that he was going to fully fund it. I was so excited for her. And I said, okay, so what's next? And she said, I'll tell you what, I found out that another person got promoted at the same time I did into the exact same position for another area of the company. He was named a vice president. I was named a senior director. I said, well, what are you going to do about that? And she said, I'm going to ask for the title vice president. And she did. 2 weeks later, she called me and told me that she is now vice president for her division. Congratulations, Marty. Here's the thing. Is it a perfect model? Is anything a perfect model? No, but it is allowing many women, many of my clients, to shift their mindset in such a way that they stop those thoughts in their head of being inadequate or not perfect enough, or I can't ask for help. All of those things that hold women back. On May 9th, which is a Thursday, in a few weeks, I am going to hold a webinar at 12 o'clock EST. And I would be delighted if you would join me at that webinar so that I can share more about what regenerating images is about and allow you to have a short, small experience of it so that you can get a sense of whether it might be valuable to you or not. I'm going to put a link down in the comments, and I'll post some more announcements as the weeks go by. And I really hope you'll join me. But until then, until May 9th, noon EST, great things are happening today, right now. Let's get going.